What is up, guys? Talking with Tonka, episode 19. We're on our third take here because my computer is being weird as heck. I don't know what is going on. But no co-host today. Benny Hanna had his infamous jury duty, so if you've been following along, he's still dealing with that. We had Mike Lowry scheduled, and he had a spontaneous job interview. So good for him. He's getting that money. But today's guest, Tyler Kingsley, a.k.a. Ty Kingsley. Who's calling you Ty? Who's calling you Tyler?
Everybody calls me Ty now. Okay. But my mother calls me Tyler.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get that. You know, so it's now that my mom passed away in 2010, but when I was born, my name was Evan Eric Vanderslice.
Okay.
Not Eric Evan. So my dad switched on her, never told her.
Really?
Until the birth certificate came in the mail. Okay. So she was calling me Evan for like the first 3 weeks of my life.
That's funny.
Yeah. So when she got mad at me when I was growing up, she would call me Evan. That's how I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God.
That's how you know you must.
Gotta get the street lights came on and I wasn't inside. They were screaming Evan, and people had no idea that was my real name. Yeah. So people were like, who's Evan? And
that's
I was
hilarious.
like, no, that's me.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So my dad was my dad's an OG, man. So he's does whatever.
That's a baller move,
right? He's like, I didn't like the way this sounded. My mom was real big into like soap operas, and stuff. So she like named me after like someone on General Hospital, or All My Children or something. Like one of her favorite characters, like his name was Evan or something like that. Yeah. So, but my dad was like, yeah, I don't like the way this sounds at all.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and he has like a traditional like old guy name, like his Thomas Francis. So like I figure that's like he was born in 1931. So I feel like that's like a grandpa.
It's
name.
fitting
like
for the time.
Yeah,
though.
for like an old like you're not hearing Eric back then.
Yeah.
Like you're hearing like Thomas, Stephen, Joseph.
I have this like ongoing thing with like certain people, and I'll say to my girlfriend all the time, I'm like, who looks at a baby and is like like Ethel? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's like certain names you're like, this is so bad. I'm trying to think of some other ones. There's like
who's naming their kid like an old like Eleanor or Helen?
Yeah, like
no offense if you did that. If
there's
you're
there's a lot of like very like antiquated names.
Right.
So it's funny. We're like there was one. Oh my God, I'm trying to think of it. But it was like a baby like. Who names the baby Fred? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you're like that's a Fred.
Yeah.
Like, but
that baby
I feel like,
has to be ugly.
Oh
you know
yeah.
I mean?
So that's another question. I feel like I know when I see a baby, I'm like, oh man, that kid is ugly. But like, I feel like they're all ugly in the beginning.
I don't know. I mean,
and then they kind of grow into themselves. So like, I feel like they all kind of look like aliens, right out of the womb. And then eventually, a couple weeks later, hair start popping up, and it's like, oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? It depends.
But the name thing, I don't fucking understand.
Yeah.
Like, where are you getting these names? Like my niece has I call her my niece, but it's my cousin. Her name is Rain. So like, that's a cool name.
That's baller. I love that.
I love
cool.
It's a cool name. But like, how are you coming up with that name?
Yeah.
Like, I never asked my cousin. I'm like, how did you like come up with that name? You just like going through a book. You're like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then there's like Estefan. You're like, ugh.
What the like? Where are you coming up with this stuff?
Weird call.
You know, I had like a second cousin named this, and like so it sounded cool. And then you ever watch Seinfeld?
No, my dad's like a diehard Seinfeld guy.
Okay.
I love Larry David, so I love Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Good
which
show.
makes sense. So it's like more closer to my generation's version of Seinfeld as opposed to me like Seinfeld ended, I think, like before I was born or within a couple years of me being born.
Right.
So I get the humor.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, so yeah, you're right in that time zone, time area.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked because there was a whole episode on how George wanted to name his first kid Soda.
Okay.
I think it was Soda. I'm pretty sure it was Soda.
When my dad listens to this, he'll have notes.
Yeah, I think it was Soda. Or no, because he was like. No, it wasn't Soda. Was it Soda? I'm pretty sure it was Soda. But anyway, he told someone, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's so unique. I love it."
That's so funny.
You know what I mean? And then he's like, "What about Seven?" And I was like,
"That's actually kind of cool.
Right,
it's a cool middle name.
Right, Seven. That'd be kind of cool. But Soda, I was like, yeah, I love soda. Yeah, I mean, not right now. I'm dieting, but you get it. But like. That is like we should put a poll out on my Instagram. It's like, where do people get their names from? like I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, because like I can look at this poster over this Back to the Future poster and be like, Leah, that's a popular name.
Yeah.
Thomas, Alan,
well,
Steven.
Like, look, there's Christopher Lloyd. Like Lloyd is another like.
Yeah.
That's an ugly baby name.
Right. And why is there two L's?
Yeah.
Like one was enough.
That's the confusion. Or like Bob. That's another one.
Yeah.
Like this baby, it's not Robert. It's just Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have no arms, no legs, and he's floating in the water.
Yeah.
You ever see those things? Those little, those memes, like you have the doormat that says, I have no arms, no legs. What's my name? And it's a doormat. You know. So what? Like, do you have a middle name? You have a middle name?
Zachary.
Zach? Wow. Zachary. You have two cool names.
I do.
It's
so funny because I think my parents wanted to name me Zachary.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you look like a Zach.
And then they used it as my middle name. But growing up, like my group of friends, there were like 3 Nicks, 2 Johns, and then Tyler, and my best friend's name is Zach.
Oh, wow.
And so it was just like this weird thing. We would always joke like, oh, we're like the odd 2. Like that's why we were best friends.
Yeah.
And then now my duo partner, his name is Zach.
Oh, wow.
So jokingly, I called him 2.0, but I love him to death. But yeah, it's just so funny. So yeah, my middle name is Zachary.
Damn, 2 cool names. I got 2 boring names.
That's cool.
Eric, Evan.
maybe I'll call your dad, see if I want to swap them up.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, which one do you like better?
You like Zachary better? He's like, yes.
Yeah. Cool. He'll probably say no. But.
Works for me. I don't like either.
Yeah.
He wants to name me Evan.
Do you go by that full name on your driver's license?
I think it's just Tyler Kingsley. So actually, my birth name is Tyler Zachary Komorowski. Not many people know that.
Is Kingsley made up?
Yeah, it is.
Stop.
Yeah, swear to God. I swear to God.
Oh, yeah. Is this a Talkin exclusive?
This is like, it's definitely not an exclusive. It's definitely public knowledge. To people.
Okay. I didn't know.
I'm not like shy about it.
So I think that's how you are on Instagram and Facebook. But it makes sense.
It's like Ty Kingsley.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because that's where you go.
But yeah. So and it was funny because when you brought up the name change thing, I was like, oh, like I have a funny connection to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my birth name, my birth certificate, and everything, and most legal documents is like Tyler Zachary Komorowski, my birth name. Yeah. I did legally change it to Kingsley after years. I used it, excuse me, as a stage name. Yeah. And realistically, like for working as a contractor for all of these venues, pretty much all over the East Coast, rather than going through like. For me, it was actually creating imposter syndrome as I was like, well, it's Ty Kingsley, but it's Tyler Komorowski. Can you make the check and the legal and the taxes? And after some time, I was like, I went to my father and I was like, hey, look, like, I just want to let you know because I do value my relationship with him a lot. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to change my name. And I did.
Yeah. How's that process go?
It's really not that bad. You go downtown, you fill out some paperwork, and you prove that you're not trying to like beat child support or like get out of like a conviction of something.
Yeah.
And I think it's like $500, and they process you, and then they are like, "Hey, congrats, you're like a newborn person." So
holy shit.
So yeah. So some people like knew about it from the jump. People I grew up with. And stuff like that. Yeah. And then some people, honestly, like if it comes up in conversation like this, I'm more than happy to be open and share
holy shit
like, what I did and why I did it.
Yeah. And I that makes total sense though. Cause like I have an LLC now, cause I think you reached out to me about Stratus, which I'm going to talk to you about off camera. Cause I did bring you up to them.
He's got some beef.
No, it wasn't that. They're actually doing budget cuts. So that's why they can't bring in anything new, but that's why I guess I don't have to talk about it off camera. I'll tell you right now. Yeah. They're talking about like, literally just having a DJ Friday, Saturday, and that's it. And I was like, oh God. Like,
I'll be honest, that venue is more geared towards DJs. It was cool. I did Wednesdays last year. Mm-hmm.
I honestly think like having you on like a happy hour on like Thursday and Friday makes total sense. But it maybe even down in like their bar area downstairs, that Red Owl Tavern would make total sense.
So I saw that and I was trying to make a connection between that and a mutual acquaintance of ours. Yeah. And I'll call him a friend of mine. Put me in that venue last year. So I didn't want to like step on his toes, but I was like, oh, this seems interesting. And then you and I wound up just by chance. You told me at the W Fest, you were like, I just got Stratus. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I saw, talked to you. And so they do like the wine hour on Wednesdays in that like lobby area.
Yeah, weird.
It's really nice. Yeah. It feels like you're in a library though. You're like,
it's so weird.
What's going on?
Yeah.
They would do that, and then you would have to set up and play, and then break down, and then go upstairs, and then do the other 3 hours. So it was like kind of like an annoyance, and it was a weird thing. I
would have brought two sets of speakers.
Well, it's also one of those things. Like for me, like I'm like, dude, this cuts into your entertainment time. Like this is not.
That's like 45 minutes at least.
This is not a logistic. Like this is not a logical move at all. But whatever, that's what they wanted. But then. At that venue, when you get to the top floor on the elevator, you got to get off and go up 3 flights of stairs. Yeah. I was like, dude, come on.
There is another elevator though.
I asked for a service elevator last year, and they were like,
It's right around the side. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
I was like, all right, whatever.
And it's only turned on like certain hours. It's so weird.
I'm sure when they're just sending up the liquor and whatever else.
Yeah, it's definitely going up there. It's definitely going up there.
I was like, how do you guys get your booze up there? And like, of course, you can't get like a straight answer, but
that's funny how that works. But yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, because like they don't want to make it a club there, and I'm like,
it's a lounge. Upscale though. It's definitely upscale.
I can see it being an upscale nightclub. Like you sell bottle service, like just keep it the way it is. Like, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Like, I have improved it. Like, the numbers have went up since I took over.
That's good.
So, like, because I'm actually like making flyers for them, doing this extra work to kind of bring my brand up.
Right.
And I'm like, it's working. So leave me alone.
Yeah.
But to get back to what I was saying, I LLC'd that brand.
Okay.
Because, they only, it's weird when I'm sending one check for $1 million gazillion, I'm not trying to get that my name taxed to that.
Right. Yeah.
So you could have just LLC'd Tyler Kingsley.
Yeah, which I mean, I did recognize that.
Yeah.
That I still could have had a separate avenue where it would have been like a air quotes business name.
Yeah.
Versus, like my birth legal given name, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of weighed out the options, and I was like, I knew how it made me feel for years. And I was just very much like, this is what I'm going to do. This is my career, and I'm going to
Where did Kingsley come from?
So I had a band when I was like 18 to 20 called Could Have Been Kings. And so the band ended, like 3 guys were like, it was like me and 3 other guys. 2 of the guys were working their way through college, and they were like, this is like a fun thing, but I'm not making it a career. The one guy, like, it was just like so unreliable. So I was kind of like, all right, I'm going to keep doing this on my own. So when the band ended, I went and played on a TV show up in New York. And I was like, I'm not using Tyler Komorowski. I'm just not using this.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a stage name. And then from that moment on, for probably 3 or 4 years, it was just, I have close enough relationships that I didn't feel completely weird about explaining. But I was like, I'm just going to make this leap and I'm going to do this. And
what was this show in New York? What was that?
It was shot at I forget the name of the school. It was like Lehman College or Lehman something, but it's up in the Bronx.
Okay.
And it was more so, God, how do I verbalize it? It was more so like local to New York and local.
So like a PBS, but in New York.
Almost along
like a public
those lines.
access kind of thing.
It was like a step above public access, but it was just more so geared towards people in New York and in that region.
Gotcha.
So that
we
was
have stations like that here where you can get it on regular, TV cable without paying for it. That kind of deal. Okay.
Yeah, and they were doing they were early into like the streaming game with like Facebook and I think even Instagram at the time, where they were let's get pump this out a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was really just kind of like the beginning of moving forward and doing my thing.
So what was the show about?
It was a mix of all these different like musicians and just people in the arts.
Okay.
So they were featuring and highlighting all these people, and I got to go on, do a quick little interview, and then perform. Okay. Kind of like how you would do it on any kind of talk show where you so
you
shoot
like
the shit for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you're like, boom, here's the song.
We should have did that today.
To come back.
Yeah, right. I used to have a drum kit here. I don't have it anymore.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, right. Do you play any other instrument besides guitar?
I play piano, obviously, sing, and I wouldn't call myself a drummer, but if I sit behind a kit, I can make noise and it'll sound decent.
Yeah. If you could play the piano and the guitar, you kind of know what, I feel like those 3 instruments, if you know keys and tempos and everything, you can get the feel for it.
I mean, drumming is just more, you said it best, like it's feel.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like dancing. You could just you're either doing it or you're not. You got to have rhythm and groove and stuff like
I was
that.
A drummer for 10 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So if you can
I sit behind a kit and I'm like, if you give me I used to be able to hear a song one time and could play at least half of it without the fills. I could play like the bass, bass
if you
beat,
can
of
sit
course.
in the pocket, you're set.
The fills is where I always had a problem with like double bass pedaling and like stuff like that, but I played for like 8 to 10 years, and then I was never really got into a band. Like my dad made me learn how to write the music for the kit and play the kit.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I know how to do all that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be able to write it right now. I don't think, but he used to make me go to these classes where the guy would. He was actually kind of amazed because I can hear it one time and start to write it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and then I was like, maybe I have something here, and then just never did anything with it. Never got into a band
or anything. And then he started scratching.
Yeah, no, I forget why I got out of drumming. I did something else after, but I was a b-boy for a long time. That's how I was a breakdancer, and then that took me everywhere. Yeah, I was on Jimmy Fallon once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's I was dope. People have been begging me to post that video.
You should.
I probably should. It's on an old computer. I would have to dig it out. It's a pain in the ass. But it's actually pretty funny. I had a mohawk. I was 220 pounds. But the wrong 220. I was kind of fat.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was a cool little banter thing. But breakdance, it took me everywhere I ever wanted to go. California, all these places for events.
Nice.
And then I hurt myself, but I was working in a nightclub, and then I got into DJing,
Okay.
and then I haven't turned back since. Yeah, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, you're set now.
Yeah, right? So is singing all you do? You have a day job?
So yeah, I mean, so music is my full-on career, my full-on job.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I perform about 250 shows a year.
Okay.
And in the last year, I started booking acts. I now book for just shy of 20 venues.
Wow.
Between Philly and Jersey. Yeah.
Is
so
that all under Ty Kingsley, or do you have an LLC?
it's just under Ty Kingsley, really. And actually,
Wow.
yeah. So
You should definitely LLC.
off mic, we'll get into the
Okay. I was
the,
gonna
the
say
side of it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because like because when I was doing everything under,
I don't collect people's checks. That's why I don't collect people's checks.
Oh, okay. You let them get
I
their
get
own
paid
check.
commissions.
Oh, smart. Okay, yeah. So that's what I was like. If I'm doing all these bookings,
No. I would never. I don't collect people's.
because that was my pitch going in there. I was like, would you rather write 5 checks or 1 check? That was
Right.
like a big selling point. They were like, I was like, do you want to do less work or more work?
Yeah.
I can literally taking 3 things away from you. I'm doing your social media posts, I'm doing all of your payroll, and I'm doing the bookings.
Right.
So you don't have to do nothing but post something now.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking care of the rest. And that was like the huge thing.
Yeah.
Like they wanted that. They were like,
I think
take
for
less
me-
off their plate.
Yeah. Like for me, like there's a number of people that I work with now
Yeah.
that in the next probably 3 years, I would
Mhm.
really consider trying to have exclusivity with them.
Okay.
If I were to do that, then it would go under an LLC.
Yeah.
And it would just be more so like my full-on commitment to getting them work rather than the venues come to me and they give me blank calendars and they're like, here's what we need, here's what our budget is, go for it. And then I work on a commission basis, which is nice. So it's not that I'm
that's awesome.
collecting people's pay and doing payroll and all this honestly extra legwork.
Yeah, that's my Wednesdays. Wednesdays is for Photoshop, payroll,
Yeah.
and invoices. It's I'm only doing 1.5 venues right now, and that's a lot.
But that's the thing. Look at the difference. I can book in volume because the turnaround's quicker.
Yeah.
Just as on a commission basis, as opposed to you collecting, cashing,
Yeah.
writing the checks,
Yeah.
or doing it, paying through Venmo, whatever it is
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing,
yeah.
filing, getting everybody's
Getting everybody signed up for Apple Pay was like the hardest thing. I'm like,
Don't you want your money?
I was like, you have an iPhone. Just sign up for it. I would
yeah.
send them the thing. I was like, I could do Zelle or Apple Pay because I got kicked off Venmo. and I PayPal. I'm trying not to pay fees. I was like, Apple Pay or Zelle. Pick one. You don't have it, then I guess you're not working.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid. Make my life easier.
Yeah.
I'm giving you 2 gigs a month. This make my life easier.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like the thing with the LLC too, because I was like, I don't want all this money coming under Eric Vanderslice. I was like, I try to fly under the radar on there as my, cause it's just with my DJ money, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, let me make this an LLC, and then anything I can put my gas through there and all these other things. So it kind of made sense. And I think next year I'm going to LLC DJ Tonka too.
Nice.
I didn't do that. I should have did that already, but I didn't, because everyone knows my real name, because I went by my real name for a little while. So when people write checks, they never write it to DJ Tonko. Thank God. I was like, I never had to deal with that. Like, so that might, like, I can see why you changed the name though, because that could be a pain in the ass. Because like on the bottom of all my invoices in bold, it says pay check to Eric Vanderslice, real big.
Yeah.
Like, do not write under DJ Tonka.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors into why I did it the way that I did. Yeah. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. Some people that I'm even close to will still be like, maybe you should have, maybe you shouldn't have, whatever.
Yeah,
but for me, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life.
Right. It just makes sense.
And I'm going to live my life the way I want to. But I mean,
hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Same.
Yeah.
And that's I have a lot of conflicts in my life sometimes, because I live my life the way I want to live it. If you don't like it, the door's right there.
Sure. You
know what I mean? Because there's really, if you're living someone else's life, not your own, what's the point of living it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you want to live for you.
And my biggest thing was, even if I was going to go down the route of LLCing it, which I know eventually there might be an opportunity where like I just said, if I'm exclusive with people, then if I'm going to collect the checks and make the whole thing happen, then of course. However, my biggest thing, I don't mind doing the extra work. It's like my whole career. But the biggest thing was feeling like I just wasn't living my truth. And I know how ironic that can sound.
No, it makes sense.
I was born something else and someone else, but I feel like I just have to give it everything that I have to make the career what I want it to be. And in the last couple of years, it's really fallen into a really healthy place where it's become everything that I ever wanted it to be.
And that's funny you say healthy place.
But I'm still chasing more. I'm still
you got to keep chasing,
satisfied.
man. And that's what, it's so funny. He actually just called me. I don't know. Do you know Rhino?
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and him actually had this conversation. He's actually going to be on the podcast soon. This thing of never being satisfied and just want to keep chasing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like,
it's hard, dude. It's hard.
It's really hard to feel that way. But sometimes when you're in doing what you love to do every day, it's like, I can't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I had a day job for a little while.
Okay.
But
what'd you do?
I was IT, basically, like nerd shit.
That's cool.
But
yeah.
I was good at it. I was good at it. So
no,
I was
that's
like,
cool, man.
You know, so I can see how, like, now we're both doing what we love to do all the time. You can't stop chasing, because then what happens to the love of it anymore?
Well, I don't know. I mean, from my personal experience, it's so funny. There have been moments where I was chasing and so hard and so like tunnel vision that I overlooked moments that I should have just sat in myself and been grateful. So like I remember, and I would always have like these metrics of success. Like I remember when I put out my first like solo record, I was like 22, and I remember thinking like, when one of these songs hits 100,000 streams, that was like a marker for me for some reason. I was like, when it hits 100,000, I'm gonna feel so great. And it surpassed it by like 50,000 streams. And I didn't even realize it at the time. So when I went back and looked at it, I was like, oh, I forgot to be happy for myself.
Yeah,
like seriously.
Because you were too busy chasing.
And it's like, you know, fortunately I've been on, you know, like done some other spots on TV shows. I've had, you know, DJ9, huge shout out to him. Yeah. He hooked me up big time with Q102 a couple years ago when I was on there regularly. Yeah. And in the moment, like I almost forgot to be happy and not grateful. Like I truly every day I'm like, this is awesome. I'm grateful for what I do. But
I should have asked him to co-host it. I didn't even
it would
think
have been
about
good next time.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
But it's one of those things, like there's a lot of times where I won't stop to smell the roses. Like I hate that expression, but it's the best way to describe it. I won't stop and just be like, damn, I'm killing it right now. Or hey, I'm really happy with this. Yeah. You know, rather than like you know how it is with booking. Yeah. You're booking 6+ months in advance. Yeah. I just got an email the other day for a wedding for 2025. And I was like, partially, I was like, let's go. And a part of me was like, oh my God, I don't even know what I'll be doing in 2 years. No,
so I always tell them to reach back out a year out. I always tell them to come back a year out. I was like, I can't guarantee I'm going to be living here. I can't guarantee any of those things. So
I jokingly said to my girlfriend, I was like, am I going to be alive in 2 years? What's going to be going on? She was like, don't say that. I was like, all right, I'm kidding.
Obviously kidding. Yeah.
But like for real.
I get what you're saying. Cause I had a bride. I just did her wedding. Was it April? Probably the beginning of April, maybe. I'm not really sure. End of April. And she tried booking me like a year and a half, 2 years out. I was like, listen, I would gladly do your wedding. I'll lock the date in.
I'll gladly take the deposit.
Right. Well, no. So that's what I told her. I don't take a deposit over a year and a half out. I'll take it a year out.
So you'll pencil it in, but then it's like, let's revisit
this conversation in a year.
That's actually a good call.
Yeah, because
then you're not like locked to it, and then if you got to make a move.
Right, exactly. And like with weddings too, especially because there's so much involved. Yeah. Right. And my contract specifically states, because now with the Phillies and stuff like that, like we have to make sure we're available to do things and do other events with them. So it's like if something comes up, I'm ditching your wedding. I'm sorry. Right. Like I'm ditching it, but I'm sending someone else in my place. And in my contract, it specifically says if something comes up and DJ Tonka cannot do it, he gives you the option to cancel or get with your full refund of your deposit or send us a adequate replacement.
Yeah, gotcha.
But people, book me to book me, so I totally understand. But the only thing I'm ditching your wedding for is
the Phillies.
The Phillies. That's pretty much it. Because because like that money is just so good. Like wedding money is where it's at.
Yeah, man.
And that's why I'm kind of glad I have an assistant now. My niece does all my like bookings for that, and she's so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I saved her butt twice doing her wedding. So she has a different last name now because she got married, obviously. So when she's like, oh, he did my wedding, we did this, and this. So her upsell game is on point.
Well, I was gonna say it's easy to hype yourself up to a client, right? And just say how great you are, and whatever, and why they should choose you.
But I feel like when it's
coming from someone that had the experience,
right? Yeah, and especially a woman talking to another woman, it was like no brainer. And she's out of work right now because she's had a baby. It's like he's almost a year old now, so it was a match made in heaven. I was like, when you go back to work, you still have to work. So you know what I mean. She doesn't get too busy because I only do like maybe 10 weddings a year. I'm not to the Smooth's level or anybody else's level that does weddings all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
Because I do weddings for other people as MC though. I'm like an MC.
Okay.
To be honest, I would love to get to the point where I'm not DJing them anymore. I'm just MCing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I just love talking on the microphone.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like, and people say I'm good at it. So I'm like, I'd rather do that and get paid the same amount of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like a lot less pressure. But, I book a lot of my weddings while I'm DJing in the nightclubs.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I think I've done, let's say 30 weddings, and 20 of them were brides that met me at the nightclub. They had such a good time. They were like, what's your contact info? You're DJing my wedding.
The same thing as your niece upselling to someone over the phone or on a Zoom call, whatever. When they get that first person experience, whether if it's from her upselling or them seeing it,
right,
and being there and just like audibly and optically like seeing and hearing and feeling the energy and the vibe and your presence, it'll help sell.
Yeah,
like, it'll help bring people in.
So have you? I know you do weddings too.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a bad wedding experience? I have. That's what to see if you had. So
two things. So I started doing weddings when I was 21, and from 21 to 23, I was with the Rockets.
Yeah.
They were pretty popular at the time in Philadelphia and traveled all over.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of weddings with them, and I saw the good side, the bad side. But really, for me, it was like I got hired to show up here under the Rockets umbrella, so it's not really my responsibility to do these. Yeah. All these extracurricular things.
Right.
I can't say I've had a terrible wedding. I really can't.
Really? Okay.
Once I left and branched out on my own, I started small. Like I would just do ceremony or just cocktail.
Yeah.
And then I started upselling, we could do ceremony and cocktail together and stuff like that. And I had a girl that played with me. She played violin. So it was very
perfect.
It was very fitting for that vibe.
Yeah.
And I would, if they wanted a playlist before or whatever, I would run it, no problem.
Yeah.
And then I started getting into with my, as I've kind of branded it, party duo.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, and you've seen it.
Yeah, it's really good.
So that show works for reception. Mm-hmm. And now we're booking it for receptions. Nice. And I'm subbing out all of the cocktail hour and
smart
majority of the ceremony responsibilities. So really I can book everything like front to back, but I can walk in and really just focus on delivering in the reception.
I was going to ask you if you did that, because like what you guys put on, the show you guys put on, I can see working at a wedding. You're getting both aspects. You're getting live music, like the band, and then you're getting the DJ aspect too with the the background track that's playing.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. So I had this idea for the longest time. Honestly, I had this idea of taking the strongest elements of the cover bands and the strongest elements of the DJing, and I knew I could do both in a way that would feel fresh, and feel like it was different a little bit and kind of like that niche kind of thing, but it was still familiar enough where people aren't like what are we watching?
It makes total sense what you're doing.
So my biggest thing was, and the Rockets, certain songs we did play to backing tracks, but when I was young I was like, you can't play the backing tracks, man. And then as I got older I was like, I can utilize these in a way that will enhance my show more than I could ever do with other musicians. There are certain sounds you truly cannot replicate.
Oh no,
or recreate.
The guitar, especially
live with elements. I mean, I've seen certain shows where people will play certain dance songs, and if it doesn't have you see a band do Dua Lipa song, and it doesn't have that full body backing track. It does. It sounds empty. It sounds different.
Yeah, because that bass drum's not going to sound like an 808 or something like that. Yeah,
but I really wanted to take what I felt were the best parts of the cover band scene and also the DJing side of it, and try to put it together in a way that I could present it to people for these high-end corporate events, which I've done, weddings now, which we're starting to do more of, the W Fest, which was huge. Shout out to Smooth for that plug. Love you. Yeah. So stuff like that, and it all came together really nice. But the biggest thing was me accepting, I have to get on stage and be and believe in this. Yeah. And really, really not feel weird about we're playing the backing tracks. But it's a duo, and it's not an acoustic type of vibe.
No, at all.
We're there to rip it. So
that's why I think by you having the backing track, you're getting the bass, you're getting the actual thump of the song.
Yeah.
So it's helping a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so full body.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we are playing live bass there. So we like, our mix is very specific. We do have it down to a science now, which is nice.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is like the one compliment we've gotten at seriously almost every show we've done in the last year. It's only been a year. People will come up like, I did not expect you to sound like that. Because they see two guys setting up. They're like, oh, maybe they'll play whatever. And we're just like going for it.
Like
So
Matchbox 20 or something.
Yeah. So, and we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, we're not afraid to do like Earth, Wind & Fire. Like I said, Dua Lipa. We'll do old hip hop stuff. So
I've heard it. It's great.
And the coolest thing was like, I felt like if I could really feel comfortable using the tracks, then there's a lot of songs that we could do that would just sound better live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It sounds great. I love it. I loved it. I was
I
like,
appreciate it.
because I was kind of, I didn't never heard you live like that yet. So I was like, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know what to expect. And then when I heard it, I was like, wow. I was like, this was dope. And I was like, that's why I kind of want to have you on too, because you're branching off into this new experience that people may not know what it is. So like, this is good to kind of talk about it.
No, I really appreciate that. And it's one of those things where it's taken me a bit of time to understand like how to verbalize it in the most simple of terms, like the easiest
trust
way.
Me. Yeah.
But because
I did the DJ drummer thing for a while,
and that's cool. I love like these like alternative types of shows.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like cover bands. I love the cover bands and I love the DJs, but I wanted to see a product that had a little bit of everything to offer.
Right.
And the great thing for,
that makes sense.
especially for weddings, is
dude,
we can still do well financially, but it is significantly cheaper to work with us than it is to work with like a 5, 6, 7 piece band that has
for sure
3, 4 sound guys and trucks. I mean, we roll up, we set it up in 40 minutes and we're ready to rock. And it's like,
what's your setup look like?
So we use EVs. We don't use subs. Like the EVs actually have built-in subs, so it's pretty clutch. So
which one? Oh, the EV towers?
Not towers.
The arrays?
Just tops. Like just the ones that you just post up. They're 18s.
Oh, I have 15. I have the 15. The 15 for all the technology
15s.
nerds. ELP 15s, the ones in the wood cabinet.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like you have a sub.
Yeah.
Like, and they're old. They're like 12 years old. I got the amps. It replaced both one time in each, and they just thump, man.
I recently upgraded.
Okay.
The 15s were cool and they really kicked, but we wanted just more. So we were like, let's just get 15s. So, and that was so funny. We were playing in somewhere in Jersey, and the 115 like blew up. we were rocking, but we weren't even pushing red on the mixer. But it was, I've had them for so long. Yeah, and they were old as hell. They were beat to shit.
Yeah,
so
I tell you, mine randomly would stop producing sound. They would pop when I turned them on. So that's usually an amp or some kind of power supply. Yeah. And that happened both times in one. So now they're both replaced. They should last me another 10 years. And that's why I can't justify buying another set. I was like, because sometimes if I need better sound for a wedding because of the bigger venue, I'll just sub it out and I'll just work with another DJ that has it. And I'll just split my pay with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll just do it like that. Because, like, I'm going to be honest, I can't DJ a 5-hour reception by myself. Really? I just don't feel comfortable doing it just because I've been in, like, because I asked you about having those weddings where, like, any bad experience. I've had bad experiences. Okay. Where I've had a bridezilla that wanted me to do it, but she wanted this specific kind of music. And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you because you're my friend. I'm telling you right now, if I can't do my normal thing and I play off what just you want me to do, no one's gonna dance. Okay. And she's like, I don't care. And I was like, all right,
dude. And you know what? And that it's like soul crushing, but in those instances, for me at least, the business side of me kicks in. I'm like, you're willing to pay me. I'm gonna come. Right. I'm gonna give you what you want. Right. I'll try to talk you out of it at least once.
Yeah, I tried politely. Twice. Yeah.
I have had clients like that where maybe their musical interest just didn't line up completely, and I was like, look, like I can do, this is my like comfort zone. This is what I do best. Right. So let me try to do that. But I've never had a moment like you said, like
a bridezilla,
like, and you're like, this is not my element.
There was 3 hours left of the reception. It was a 4-hour reception. Dinner was over so quick.
You're like, I'm out of music.
Yeah. Like I'm literally out of what she wanted. She wanted like alternative rock and like, she wanted some pop punk stuff, which I know, so I was playing like dancier ones that people would know.
Yeah. And that hits if you mix it in.
Right. And I did a little bit what she wanted, and then no one was dancing at all at some points. And like tough. People were complaining to me. I was like, listen, she gave me a specific set of rules. I can only do this. Yeah. If you want to talk to her, she's right over there. I was like, I'm doing what she wanted me to do, you know? And eventually she was like, hey, do your thing. 2 hours went by. An hour of that bullshit went by. And then the last 2 hours, people were dancing the whole time. Yeah, so she let me do whatever I wanted.
There has to be a balance between like servitude and also sticking to your guns a little bit. So hopefully there can be compromise. I've had a lot of clients where I always offer to send them my song list. Yeah. And I've only had like 3 or 4 weddings where they're like, just don't play these 6 or 7 songs. I'm like, great. And they're like, just do it the way you want. As opposed to that, like, you know, for you where you're like, I have these songs. Yeah. This is all I'm allowed to play.
I sent out a crush sheet where it's like 50 to 25 to 50 songs that you definitely want to hear at your wedding. So I can kind of get a vibe of what the bride and groom are like.
That's cool.
And then I do like a do not playlist. Give me 10 songs you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And one lady, oh my God, Beyonce, Earth, Wind and Fire,
like the
Bruno
best
Mars.
Party songs.
Yes, all the best party songs are on the do not playlist.
That's
so what
funny.
are you doing at that point? Oh, I'm just gonna put on iPod and walk away.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do? Like, you're taking all the fun out of it. That's one thing I'm having a hard time adjusting to, is that part of it. Yeah. Where I'm used to being able to do whatever the hell I want.
Fortunately, like I said, I haven't really had that many like terrible experiences.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I don't ever run into that. But again, like to your point, you know, your sound and your vibe is very specific and you're locked into a style.
Yeah.
My show being a mix of live music and DJing and the way we utilize the tracks, it's very, very specific.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've had clients where they've asked me to learn certain songs and I'll learn like up to a certain amount of songs.
Yeah,
but like,
I'm like my brain can't hold anymore, guys.
But I'm not running a whole new set just like for you. You know what I mean? There is a line.
Yeah, if it makes sense, then yeah. I mean, but
I'm like, well, let's put these 7 songs on the DJ set list, and then we'll learn these 3 songs,
right?
Or hey, I can do these 3 acoustic during your dinner, or something.
Right?
There has to be a little bit of that, like you're kind of towing the line a little bit. But
that makes sense.
Trying to make it work and make them happy.
I did, like I said, I did the DJ drummer thing with my buddy Tommy from the starting line for a little while. Then he moved on to a couple other DJs, and then,
so that was when I first like started, and I first was in the scene. Yeah. So were you doing this like 2016?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So me and Tommy would do River Paloozas all the time.
Do you guys do OD?
No, that was him and Daly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I never got to do that. That was actually, it was like a whole story. I won't get into it, but
this is a very politicized.
Yeah, dude, you
industry.
Get it. You get it. Yeah. So I started. Do you know Donnie from Fish Out of Water?
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and Donnie started doing it. We were called DJ Squared because his name is Donnie. I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
So it was my buddy John Dattila from Mad River made it up. He's like, yo, what about DJ Squared? He made us a logo and everything.
That's awesome.
So instead of just playing the drums, he would play the kick drum sometimes and then guitar along with the songs.
Yeah.
So we tried to make like a new musical experience about it. You know what I mean? So I was like, so it's kind of like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you still have the drummer, but he's also playing the guitar as well. So he was doing a lot of extra work. I kind of felt bad sometimes, but he's so talented, that kid.
He could play everything like so well.
Dude, it's amazing.
His dad's a beast too.
Yeah.
His dad's the man. His dad like low key just like I've seen a lot of videos where like his dad will play like the first set with Fish Out of Water.
Yeah.
And then he's crushing it. They're doing like the best songs, like Boston and shit like that.
Yeah,
it's like the coolest stuff ever.
Yeah.
But
he was in a band for a long time.
Inclined family.
Yeah. If you ever get this, I went to his, we used to practice in his parents' basement. Okay. The amount of collectible guitars they have hanging on that wall, man, it was amazing.
Donnie's always throwing up videos too, and it's always a different guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like a $3,000, and then it's like another one, and then another one. But yeah, they're just very much like they're very musically inclined. Yeah. And they're just such good people.
Oh, dude. Yeah. And it was, his band kept getting mad because I was getting him booked with me more, but I would make sure I was going around their schedule.
Right.
So if they were off, but then got a last minute gig, he couldn't do it because he was already committed with me.
That's tough.
So it was like, you know, it was hard to toe that line where it was like, you know, he didn't want to let his band down and this, that, and the other thing. So we kind of like slowly stopped doing it. And it sucks because I think really if we really marketed it right, because we had a light show, I had my buddy there programming lights, like it was perfect. Our first show was really good. And we did a couple of shows after that and they went really, really well. But like I said, his band has started getting involved and it was like kind of the end of it. It
is tough when there's musicians that are doing multiple like projects at once. And dude, like the schedules are always going to conflict.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And like, so for me, like my thing with Zach, who's my partner for my show, he plays in an original band and they're fucking killer. They're good. Yeah. They're really good. And it's like heavy shit. It's not dance stuff. It's like
heavy metal.
It's not heavy metal. It's just like one extension of hardcore, I guess you could say, kind of like pop punk-ish roots, emo stuff. It's just heavy.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. They're called Poeta.
Okay.
But our thing is like, I book 6+ months in advance. So I'm like, dude, give me the dates you want off or you think you're going to need off. I will tentatively hold off on booking and I'll put them at the bottom of my list. And look, I still play acoustically.
Yeah.
So I can fill in acoustic last minute.
Right.
And fortunately, because I book for all these venues, I kind of have the first crack at the dates.
Yeah, that's what I love about
So I can get myself in a position to kind of make these things work. But he's really good about taking off and not and not needing a lot of time off, which is great.
So this is what our problem with Donnie was. He was making more money with me, so he was like, I really want to do it with you, but I don't want to lose my band and all this other thing. So it kind of like,
tough.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough thing. And I this is when Chip was still in the band and like a couple of the other guys. So like I knew the band because I played with them at Parks every week. So like every other Saturday they were with me, or twice a month. It doesn't matter, but they were with me all the time. So I got in a relationship with these people.
Yeah.
So like I didn't want to get in the middle of it, and I was like, maybe it's best that we just stop doing it. You know what I mean? Because it sucked.
It's a cool from what you're telling me.
Yeah.
It sounds cool, and like for me, like again, like going back to my show, the parallel is that I wanted to. I don't want to say like create something new. I know I'm not breaking new ground.
Right.
But it's just different and it's kind of its own
no one's doing
niche market and it's
in
its own avenue. And it's not a market where I have competition.
Right. And that's why
I'm competing with Secret Service.
Right. Yeah, literally.
And I saw their show when I was 21. I was like, these guys are awesome. No one is like young doing this. So that was always in my mind. When I was in the Rockets, when I left, I was doing solo. I was like, I think I should still try it. And that was kind of the...
When was your first show?
With this, like the party duo?
Yeah.
God, our first show was down the shore last year, Memorial Day weekend.
How'd that go?
In Wildwood. It was actually really great.
Yeah.
And I never get nervous. Like, I've just never been nervous about playing music or performing for people. I was like, oh man, I'm kind of nervous because I put like 2 years of work into building the show. So I was like, if this shit's the bed, I'm so fucked.
I don't know how it's going to work.
Because I didn't. So, funny story. Last year in January, before last summer, I had a girl that was going to do it with me. Okay. And she wasn't really committed. She wasn't really feeling it. And we basically amicably were like, let's just not do this. Let's just call it. I still booked it for the entire summer without a partner.
Shit.
Because I knew I could at least get a couple fill-ins. So maybe I'd have to pull some date. And I did have to pull one date. My first ever show I was supposed to do, I had to pull. Aside from that, I was good to go. So in April of last year, I get a message from Zach, and he's like, "Hey, I see you're posting a lot about this duo you're trying to do. Yeah. What's up with that? Do you need a partner? Do you want to talk? Whatever." And we spoke on the phone, and we met up, and we played together once. I said, "All right, just learn these 10 songs. We'll run it a set as if it's a live show." So we got together, we jammed, and it was just awesome. And it was a good fit. But so funny because all last year for the first 4 months of the year, I was booking it this is going to be ready. It's going to be ready. I don't have a video for you yet, but and again, I had good enough relationships with people that they were like, we're going to try it. We trust you. We'll try it once. Or maybe give you a couple dates tentatively. And if they got to pull it, whatever. But, I was booking it with no partner. And I was like, if I have to cancel all of these, my whole summer's a wash. I'll be driving Uber for the summer. Because I won't have work because it's too late to book stuff.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting.
Yeah.
So he came in the 11th hour and was like, hey, you need a partner? And I was like, yes.
And it happens to be named Zach.
Yeah, happens to be named Zach. Love him to death. But it was the biggest thing was not just needing a partner, but I needed the right person. Oh, I needed someone that was committed. Huge. I needed someone that understood how to play within the track. Because I think a lot of people would think that we're just jamming on the guitar as hard as we can over top of it. We're not. No. We learn the melodies and we play. It's kind of like interweaving guitar and bass with the tracks.
Because that's what the DJ drummer thing is. When I was with Tommy, he was making up parts of it and making it his own. You know what I mean? Yeah. When I was playing it. And he was overpowering the song sometimes, but certain times where there's the breakdown in the song, he's still doing something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether it's just a cymbal hits and
you find your pocket in those
to show off a little bit
in those songs. And there's certain ones where we can do solos and stuff like that. And there's certain ones where I'm just play the melody really tight to the click, you're good. Yeah. And there's certain things that we kind of have room to expand and
that's awesome.
Be floaty.
Yeah. So that's awesome. How long have you been playing music for?
Pretty much my whole life. I mean, there's pictures and videos of me 3 years old, guitar, piano, drums, singing, So it's just been like just this thing that's been like so deeply embedded in my life.
Yeah.
You know, my entire life.
Was there anybody in your family inspired you to do that, or you just?
I mean, both my parents were really young when I was born.
Okay.
So they had their finger on the pulse as to what was cool.
Yeah.
So my dad was like into like all of the Seattle grunge bands. So my dad was like big on Nirvana and Pearl Jam.
Okay.
And all those types of bands. My mother was more so into like Madonna and Kool and the Gang and stuff, and more like 80s, 70s vibe. But they both loved the Beatles. They both loved Billy Joel. And, my grandparents played a huge part in my upbringing.
Okay.
So I was listening to the Bee Gees when I was a kid. I was listening to like old 50s records, and I was obsessed with Elvis when I was a kid. So
wow, so just kind of music's in your blood now.
Yeah, I mean, having all like this like all these different musical tastes.
Yeah.
Kind of share with me at a young age, and then I got to kind of figure out what I liked.
Yeah.
So
it's
cool.
Funny. I always joke about how Michael Jackson, I never met him, but he taught me to appreciate music, listen to music, and taught me how to dance, and I never even met the guy.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So like my parents were pretty far apart in age. How old my mom would be right now? I don't have a calculator, but I want to say they were like 28 years apart. It was like a big gap.
My aunt and uncle are like that.
Oh, really? So so my dad now is 91, and he listens to like 40s and 50s music.
Yeah.
So like, listen to that kind of stuff. And my mom would listen to, like Madonna and the Beatles and all these other places. So I had music from all different realms. And then my brother, he's 2 years older than me. You might know Mike Slice. He actually followed the Rockets sometimes at like La Costa and all.
Yeah, I actually do know Slice.
Yeah, funny. That's my brother.
Yeah.
So he was into Michael Jackson. So anything my brother did, I kind of did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I had my brother to thank, I guess, too, for introducing me to Michael Jackson.
That's awesome.
Michael Jackson, I'm pretty sure you have love for that man as well. But like besides like all his his news scandals and stuff like that. But people always try to bring that up to me. How do you support blah, blah, blah? I'm like, listen, his music doesn't do it. So like, you know what I mean? So his music is different. So I said this on episode 18 is like, so I'll ask this before I explain what I was about to say. Do you have a go-to artist or genre of music that you can listen to that puts you in a good mood?
Puts me in a good mood.
Like you're feeling down. What are you putting on?
Oh man. That's a good one. Yeah. I probably like Billy Joel.
Okay.
Is because I love his sound, his style. He's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
So like my biggest influences, which probably coincide with me trying to pull myself out of a bad mood,
right,
would be Billy Joel, would be Tom Petty, would be like James Taylor, Carole King, because those songs are more acoustic based. Like they're all singer songwriters that I'm mentioning. So like they would all write on a piano or a guitar, and everything they added after that was just to enhance the song. Yeah. So all those types of songs really will pick me up. I'll be honest, like for what I do, I'm not huge into like dance music. Yeah. I'm more so very much into singer-songwriters. And that's why like I write my own songs. Right. So those are the people that I love and want to, emulate and I idolize. So if I'm feeling not too great, I'll throw in some Petty or some Billy Joel or something like that. Yeah. So like the topic was that last week and we talked about it. My buddy Ben said he creates Spotify playlists depending on the year, and then he'll go back to the year he was most happiest and listen to that whatever he was listening to that year. That's funny. And every year that passes, he's a little sadder. Yeah, it's gets a little bit bad. He's going back like 10 years. Yeah, like, oh, shit. 10 years ago, it's all Starting Line and Blink, all emo stuff. And then so now I listen if I'm upset and like I can't get my mind right. Yeah, I throw on Michael Jackson Spotify and just drive, or lay in my bed, or sit in front of the computer. Yeah, and it's so funny. It's like I listen to this Michael Jackson radio on Spotify on shuffle. And there's some songs I skip because some songs are trash, but I just can't get down with like the song Ben and like all these other songs. Like, what is this song even about? Yeah. And I'm just like fast forwarding through those, but he has so many good songs where it's like, and it makes sense. I mean, like those songs are like, and I'm a dance DJ, so it just makes sense. They're like incredibly infectious. So it just makes sense. It's for funny. Me, I'm more so, like I said, into a songwriter. So like Fleetwood Mac would be another one where it's like just vibes. Yeah. Just really cool vibes. Yeah, you're just riding a skateboard, drinking your cranberry juice. Yeah. But every once in a while, it does, like, it's like the weirdest thing ever. Have you ever been sad and you put on a sad song and you're like, I really got to be in my emotions right now.
Yeah,
I gotta be in my feelings.
I don't think I've ever done that.
You got to be in your feelings. You got to be in your sad.
When I'm
bag
sad,
just for
man,
a
it's like I need to get out of that, man.
That's funny.
I think I'm too like lively of a person. It's funny. My buddy actually Smooth. He can tell, or him 9, like they're my best friends. So like they can literally my co-host Ben. They know when I'm in a bad mood because I'm just not my normal joyful, funny, joking around, dorky self, and they just know. And they were so it's like when someone's like, oh, you're not looking right today or something. That the first thing I do when I get in my car, man.
Throw it on
MJ, and I'm back. Yeah. Give me like a half hour, I'll back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what I'm going through. And but everybody goes through those days where nothing's really going to bring you back, but something a little bit of smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? But so when was the first time you picked up a guitar or a piano? What was your first instrument?
So, I mean, picking it up seriously, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
So I was really young.
The guitar was your first?
Guitar was the first.
Okay.
I had, and like I said, being like 3 or 4 years old, there are pictures of me just fumbling around on every instrument, just like slapping, making some noise.
Yeah.
But guitar was the more serious interest early on. And I stuck with that for years. And I started to develop what I feel is a strong ear in terms of pitch. I wouldn't say that I have perfect pitch, but I have like relative pitch, which is you can get pretty close to locking into notes.
Yes.
So I had a keyboard and I started to kind of figure things out.
Yeah, because I feel like they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I think if you know your keys and your pitches, and for people who don't know, there's C's, B's, and all these things. So if you know the different chords you need to play, I feel like you can mimic that on a piano and vice versa.
I mean, so everyone says that it's easier to teach a child music theory on piano because the notes are right in front of you and they're in direct order.
Except for that you can't see them.
Yeah, so C to C, those are your octaves. But on guitar, when you're playing, it's kind of like sideways, so it's a little goofy. But I taught myself piano when I was like 19. I was just like, I really love piano. I know
there are two instruments I want to learn before I die.
I was like, I know it enough to figure it out, and I'm going to learn on my own and just try to figure it out. So now, like to the point, I could write songs on it and do. It's funny. Whatever. I
actually really should have. I don't know why I didn't ask him. I should have asked Nye because he used to play the guitar.
Oh, really?
He could pick up a guitar at Guitar Center. We're just walking there to get DJ stuff, and he would just start shredding.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, play Beat It. He's like, that's like
awesome.
Perfect. And I'm like, what?
That's cool.
Like, how do you do that, man? It's like, so every good guitarist that I know when I'm playing with a band, can you play Beat It? And then just start doing it. Or when I'm playing and they're warming up and they're trying to like mimic what I'm playing, it's like the most amazing thing to me. Because like, well,
that's a test of your. I mean, they might know the song,
right?
But that is a test of your pitch,
right?
So like, there's certain songs where if we're about to go on and a DJ is playing in the club, I'll try to find the root note like as fast as I can and try to like just kind of like jam on it a little bit. And it's cool to test your ear because it's such an intuitive thing that
and it kind of gets you warmed up.
Yeah. It just kind of gets you in the vibe, but it's nice to see how closely you can land it. Especially as a vocalist, I'm like meticulous about how I sound all the time. So like for me, it's like making sure I'm on key and the pitch and the tone.
So are you like strumming a guitar while you're making music so you can feel like you're in the right like octave range and stuff like that?
When you say making, like when I'm like...
When you're writing your own music.
I mean, it depends. Like there are certain times where I'll have an idea for like the narrative of the song. So kind of what the story and what the lyrics are going to be, and I'll jot it down. And then I'll eventually, grab a piano or sit down at the piano or grab a guitar and strum and try to find like, oh, this is the key and the tone that I'm hearing in my head. And also, depending on the emotion of the song, certain keys coincide with emotion.
Right.
That's what they are. It's all color.
Yeah.
Right. So I
know a little bit about musical stuff, but not like, as much as you, obviously. But I know... like certain pitches and keys are for different types of things. So like,
so like country songs, like pop country is like always in A major. It's a very bright, happy key.
And the song can be depressing as fuck.
Yeah, dude, really can. Really can. And then there's like a joke like, I think it's D minor is it's the saddest key of all. I think that's a quote from Spinal Tap.
Oh, right.
But they were talking about like sad music. It's like, well, this is the saddest key of all. And it really is because those notes are very gut-wrenching. They're emotive. They pull out a darker color. So it's
for
just kind of having at least that understanding can help you pinpoint where you're trying to go and write your song. And that's typically my approach. Is
when did you decide that music was it?
I mean, I truly believe I'd felt like this my entire life.
Okay.
I was like, I'm so obsessed with this. I love this. But when I was 18, I was in high school still, and I started playing out. And I was like, this is it for me. This is what I'm going to do, and I'll figure it out. And I know that's like a little thick-headed as a young guy, but it's one of those things. Like, I'm glad I was thick-headed, because if I wasn't and I didn't have as much of a backbone as I think that I do, I think that I would have quit. I would have probably given up. Like, this is fucking hard. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So it was like my whole life, I was just obsessed with it. I played sports with my friends. I played organized sports my whole life, all through high school.
That was the next question.
But I mean, I played soccer for 15 years all through high school, and that was like my committed sport. Mm-hmm. I played baseball along the way, played hockey along the way.
Yeah.
We played pickup 2-on-2, 3-on-3 after school. We were active kids. Before smartphones. We were like out and about every day after school doing something, whether if it was, again, like with your friends, pick up, or if it was organized. But music was just everything to me. Yeah. And it still is.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. So you didn't go to college then?
No.
Not even like that thought about maybe taking like more music type classes somewhere, or? So
I took personal lessons.
Okay.
Through what would have been my college years.
Okay.
So like
that's the same kind
I've worked. Yeah. So it was more so just directed at what I was trying to do. It wasn't in a conventional like school setting.
Right. Yeah.
But I've worked with 3 vocal coaches throughout my life, and I was really committed to that. Like I said, I did teach myself piano, but I would go to the vocal coach and say, "Am I like just tell me if I'm playing this at least half right?" And I'd say, "Well, maybe try this, these coordination exercises to strengthen the motions and stuff like that." But that was really left up to me.
Because I feel like, even with anything you get into, even now with technology changing with DJing, it's wild some of the shit people are doing, and I feel like you always can learn something.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like always. And I feel like, especially with music, there's so many different ways you can go with music. High, low, sideways. You know what I mean? And I feel like you can always be a student of your own passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's good that you're still kind of like exploring those things, because you never, like, especially if it's something you want to love to do, and it sounds like you're doing great. How many accounts you have. That's amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's all in the last, I'd say 2 years, really fell into a place and a good balance.
Yeah.
So I treat it like my job. I get up every day, go to the gym, I come home, I shower, I eat, and then I'm on my computer doing emails and calls pretty much all day.
That's like pretty much my day.
And not that I need like praise for it. I know we all do that, but I'm just, for people out there that are listening, I think there is sort of a societal belief that like our job is easy, and don't get me wrong, a lot of it is. A lot of it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like logistical bullshit that we deal with that people don't think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm very fortunate. The last couple of years have just been great.
Okay.
And now it's one of those things where we touched on this probably a half hour ago.
Yeah.
But I'm not really satisfied.
Yeah.
But I feel good about where I'm at.
Yeah. So I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I was. I don't know if you listened to other episodes, but it's okay if you didn't. A lot of people that they listen after they're on, because they're like, "Wow, that was really great. I want to start listening." Right. So, I've talked about how I got back into DJing full time. Right. So 2019, my buddy was working out of school. He's like, "Yo, I know you don't want a job, but he's like, my school needs a technology coordinator. Like, just interview for it. It's good pay, benefits, blah 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 blah." So I did it. Got the job. Was there for 2.5 years. I hired my 2 buddies to assist me. I was a manager. They moved me up to manager. Wouldn't give me a raise. Was there 2.5 years. Did all this extra work. Wanted to give me more money. My friend had just went to Penn School of Medicine for counseling or something. She knew the head of IT. Gave him my resume. I was hired there within 2 weeks.
Nice.
Because I've been working on and off for a long time. Like I was at Bucks County Community College for like 6.5 years. I was at Jones Apparel Group doing help desk for like 9 years. So like I have a lot of IT experience. Mm-hmm. They hired me pretty much on the spot.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So I took the job. Got paid $14,000 more a year than I was making, which is what I wanted originally. I would have never left. And actually, I was only asking for half of that. So I was only asking for $7,000, and they wouldn't give it to me. The other, I think it was $9,000 total, but the other was for my assistants to get them more money. And when I left, they did get more money. So thankfully, I did something right. But I went to that job. I hated it. I hated it. Like literally hate it. I was like, because the other job gave me a little bit of freedom because I was working in a school. Summers off. I was done by 3:00 every day. Like
it's a nice schedule.
It was a great schedule. School schedules are great. You know, weekends were off all the time, and then you had half days, holidays, and still getting paid and all this stuff. It was perfect for me. Like I was able to do a night gig and be at work by 9:00 and not be dead because it was like 11 minutes down the road. So it was perfect, perfect for me. And I literally went. My boss saw. I was like, "Listen, this isn't working out. Like, this is not what I signed up for. No one's helping me. I feel lost. I feel deserted here." I was like, it was during like post-COVID time, so it was pain in the ass. I was in the I was taking care of 24 floors by myself, not knowing anything, because I was the only one in the building, which I shouldn't have been. Like, they were just running it wrong. Told the dude I was uncomfortable. Blah blah blah. So he's like, before you put you into 2 weeks, so I feel like that's what you're about to do. Give me a week. I'm going to sit down with the other bosses and figure out what we can do to make you feel more comfortable. And I was like, all right, because we don't want to lose you. Like, we're fast tracking you to a manager's position, all these things. That's why they were doing it to me. And I was like, well, you're suffocating me. I'm going to die. Like, I don't want to come in to work. I don't want to be here. So like, once I get to that moment, like when I'm like, I don't want to be here with anything I'm doing. It's
hard to turn that mentality around.
I'm gone. That my mind's already made up, you know? So I get back to my office. 9 calls me. I'm like, what's up, man? And he goes, yeah, you want to do this Phillies thing with me? And I was like, bet. Hung up the phone, put my 2 weeks notice in, right?
Like, I'm out of here.
I was like, I think that was the universe telling me you're not doing what you should be doing. And
well, it's also when you create room for opportunity, better opportunities will come.
Right.
So if you had said, I'm just going to stay in this job, maybe you wouldn't have gotten that call. Because I'm a firm believer in the universe working in your favor, but you do have to create room for these opportunities.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Because I definitely made room for it, and now full-time DJ, I'm working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, double Sunday. So like they're working a ton. Thankfully it's summer. You can work on a Thursday night. Yeah. Sunday night. You can work on these nights that don't exist in the fall and winter.
Right.
But, so do you have a plan? Like, I know I plan for the fall and the winter, because the fall still kind of double booking. But do you plan around that kind of stuff? Like, so in case winter's a little short, are you planning ahead for those kind of things? Like, I know I started doing that recently. I wasn't doing that before.
Yeah. So pre-COVID, I was booking 18 months in advance. But it was only acoustic stuff, but I was getting a lot of private events. Yeah. Everything happened. The world's upside down for a couple of years. Here we are now. Now it's more like a year, pushing a year and a half in advance. I know I mentioned a wedding that's 2 years, but I was like, that's really out there. Yeah. That's not a common occurrance. But for me, fortunately, with the way the show operates and how it is, again, a mix of the live band and the DJing, we can play in a lot of these clubs pretty much year round and be busy. So fortunately, and today I just sent out the rest of my dates, which is like 5 dates I'm looking to fill for the end of the year, right before Christmas. But we'll still play stuff in like Philly, spots in Jersey, like Cape May, and we'll do, these other Christmas parties and these events. So I'm always planning ahead. Sometimes too far in advance.
I'm only like 2-3 months tops, that's great. I would love to know my schedule. Like, the only thing I know ahead of time, it's like I'm booked at the Phillies. Well, actually, DJing altogether, I'm pretty much full till the end of August, which is great. I always try to get summer out of the way.
I used to do, I'll tell you why. I used to just be quarterly.
Okay.
So, and that was cool for me for a long time. Yeah. And then, like I said, I got really fortunate where I was getting more private events. So, of course, they're planning further in advance.
Right.
But with this duo and this show, we play in the slots of the cover bands in the clubs. So now I'm back in the mix of where I was with the Rockets from the age of 21 to 23. So I have to book further in advance.
Right. You have to.
There's just more competition on that side in the sense of the slots, not competition in the sense of what my show is. So there's not a lot of duos doing it the way that we're doing it.
You're doing it, yeah.
But yeah, so basically I will always go back to this. I have great relationships with the people that I work with all over the East Coast. So for me, it's like I can book stuff farther in advance, and it gives me more peace of mind. Yeah. But it's so funny because now I'm looking at like January of next year, and it's like, obviously it's there's nothing on the calendar. And I'm like, what am I doing in January? Because I'm just like such a busybody. I'm like,
yeah,
I get kind of nuts in that sense.
Yeah, because I know I look at my schedule. Like I'm looking at, I think I have maybe 2 dates left, like 2 like random. So I just had a cancellation for a UFC. Like I do all the parks like after parties for their concerts.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they bring everybody back to Beer Garden that wants to come, gives them a free app, and then they're hoping they buy drinks. You know what I mean? Basically what they're hoping. And
nice.
Then, you know, they call it an after party, but there's no room to dance. So I'm just playing background music, but they want me to match the band that's playing. So like I had Farner, so I'm playing like 80s rock,
yeah, that's
basically,
cool.
You know what I mean? Throwing in some top 40 because there is other people there.
Yeah.
And then this last week I had Matt Rife, the comedian. So I'm like, what the fuck am I going to play? So I'm playing like...
I didn't know about this guy until like 6 days ago. And then everyone on social media is
he's
like...
hilarious.
Okay.
But
I haven't done
I'm going to be honest. Okay. So this is to any Matt
hot
Rife.
Take.
Yes, hot. This is my opinion. This is only my opinion. I've watched his TikToks. He's in smaller rooms. So he's very, very crowd oriented. He's like he sees you in the crowd, he's going to try to pick you apart or pick this person apart or ask them questions to pick them apart.
Yeah.
That's a whole part of this act. At Parks, he really couldn't do that. He's only seeing maybe the front row because it's so bright and it's so dark. So he's only seeing maybe 5 rows of people, and there's 1,500 people there.
It's funny that you say that because, like, obviously the biggest bands in the world that I love that most people seem to appreciate at this point, Metallica, the Foo Fighters, they're playing for like ridiculous crowds. They'll always, before their next tour, they'll do like the Roxy. They'll play for the 600 people crowds. And they like that. And a lot of them have said at one point in time or another, like, we like playing for these smaller crowds. It's intimate. Yeah. It's a challenge for us, but it's also more enjoyable. When you're playing for such a huge crowd, sometimes you're just lost in it. It's like you're kind of disconnected. Yeah,
and his comedy, I don't think can stand on its own without that. So like he was picking apart a couple of people in the front row, which helped a lot. But I asked a girl that went the following night, and I was like, did he do this joke, this joke, this joke? And she's like, yep, right in a row too. And I was like, wow. I was like, so his comedy's the same. And I was like, was he audience interacting? She's like, yeah, but only to the front row. And I'm like, because that's all he could see. It's
such an interesting thing with psychology, how you can tell a joke once and it's hilarious and then it's not funny again, but you can sing the same song for 30 years, 40 years, and it hits every time. It still strikes the emotion. Such an interesting disconnect.
Yeah, very. And then when I was like, did the opening act say the comment about DJs? She's like, yep. And I was like, how he doesn't drop the beat on the right time? And I was like, yep. And I was about to scream. I'd be like, you obviously heard the wrong DJs.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? Because I'm one. I was like, come to the after party. I'll show you. I'll show you how to do it. You know, he never showed up, but I was gonna pull him aside, like, that joke is so inaccurate. Like, I don't know what DJs you're listening to, but they're terrible.
You're just giving him tips on his comedy career. Like, even though he's like doing really well, you're like, I gotta talk to you.
I gotta talk to you about it because this is terrible. But like, back to my point is like, he now announced his stadium tours that he's gonna be doing with Ashton Kutcher, and all the Ashton Kutcher's like stepping behind him and like trying to like.
Oh, so I saw a video of Ashton Kutcher in his, like, I guess it was like a promo video.
I think he's back in it.
I didn't understand what the deal was with that.
I think he's helped back.
But I thought it maybe just like a funny one-off kind of thing.
I think he's back in it because you know that dude's got gazillions of dollars. So you know, I definitely think he's back. I don't know if is he a comedian?
Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah.
He's like, you know, you've seen some of his movies, I'm sure.
I wonder if he's a comedian. I don't know. But the only thing I could see the relevance is they kind of look alike, and they're you know, when he was at Matt Rife's age, he was like, the girls were putting on their wall. It was Ashton Kutcher. So that might have been the tie-in.
Punk'd was huge.
Right. So like there's a tie-in somewhere. I don't know what it is, but I don't think he's going to do well. I really don't. But if the stadium's bright, he might. But like if you watch him on TikTok and everything, his funniest shit is when he's interacting with the audience. Yeah,
it's intimate.
Yeah, and he couldn't really do it at Parks. Like, there was a front lady in the front, though. She had a peel-off paper on the front, and he was reading it off her chest. Like, she did this on purpose. And at the end of it, she was like, I want you to sign my vagina with your penis or something like that. and he was laying into this woman.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty funny. But
That's funny.
Then he took it too far because he had nowhere else to go with it.
Right.
So he's like stuck.
Yeah.
So that's a good follow-up question for you now is like, when you're doing acoustic and the crowd's not feeling it, have you ever been stuck?
No.
Where you couldn't
keep that shit moving.
You couldn't get out of that pocket.
No, I mean, I haven't had like, I get it. I've done it a million shows where maybe I'm background music, and that's fine. So then I get to jam longer on the songs that I love, and I'm not really doing like the performance side of it. I'm just more of I'm serving my responsibility to be there and play music.
Yeah.
But it's not one of those things. I mean, where it's bothered me or been hard for me to play through the show.
Yeah.
Just keep it moving. I'll just play whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah. And that's awesome.
It kind of lightens the I don't even know what the right word would be, but like, it's not hard for me to pick the song in that moment, because if everyone's talking, enjoying themselves, I'm going to let them be, and I'm going to stay in the background, and I'm comfortable in that moment, like in that space.
Yeah.
Because then it's always funny. At least one person will come up like, "Hey, you did really well." I'm like, "Really? You didn't clap?"
Yeah, one time.
I used to get pissed about people not clapping. Now I'm like, I don't care. If you're having a good time and you're happy, and you're enjoying yourself, and I'm getting paid, that's cool.
That's cool, man.
Truly, there has to be that side of it at times.
Yeah.
Not that I want my career to be along that trajectory, but there's moments where I'm just jamming and no one's listening.
And to be honest, I kind of enjoy that. We were at the old La Costa, which is now like Ludlow or Ludlow or Ludlam, something. I don't know. There was these two guys playing a piano. Rocking pianos. I don't know, these two older guys. We were the only people that walked in, and they were like, request. I was throwing Hail Marys at them.
I think doing pianos is there like once a week, but not Henkel's.
Yeah, it wasn't his.
It was the older guys.
It was these two older dudes, really talented. Because I threw Throw It Out Blind at them. I threw Matchbox 20, I think someone threw at them. Yeah, I think Rhino said I want Matchbox 20, and like we were just like randomly things that we could think of that they could do. And some of them they had to learn. They had to like listen to it and learn it, and they played it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. I filmed them and put them on my Instagram. I was like, you guys are great. And we tipped them like $30-$40.
That's awesome.
I was like, and I can appreciate people that are background music, but good music. And like they're jamming. Even if they're just jamming for themselves, I can appreciate that.
That's a good way to put it. All those times where the crowd has their back to me, and they're talking, it's during a happy hour typically, and they're vibing. That's cool. But I'm still going to play like the way I want to play. I'm not going to like lessen my, you know what I mean? I'm not going to refrain from performing the way I like to. I might not be as engaging because clearly it's not the right time.
Right.
There is a time and a place for the music to just be the music.
Yeah.
And you not be like the performer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and if that makes sense. I'm not trying to like talk in circles.
I think because I like music so much, I can appreciate someone that I can tell is enjoying the music.
Yeah.
And these guys really enjoyed playing music, and they wanted a challenge, so we were giving them challenges.
Sometimes it's fun too. Like you'll have a show, and especially if you have someone there with you. So if it's like a duo show, there have been a couple over the last year where maybe the crowd was really light, or it was just they weren't vibing with us, and I would look at Zach and be like, "We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun." I mean, might goof off a little bit more, but it's between us. But still, our projection is we uphold the quality of our show.
Right.
It's a product, and we're trying to sell this. So it's like we try to keep things, moving and keep it sounding good. But so
that's why
it doesn't bother me.
I really like what you just said. It's a product, and I look at myself as a product, right? So there's a lot of DJs that'll put mixes on until people come, and like I do the first hour. That's like my limit. Is like, and then if there's no one there, I'm just gonna play.
Yeah,
I'm playing full songs, but I'm gonna play.
Yeah,
because like people are paying me to be there, and I feel weird. First hour, if it's a 5-hour gig, I'll put an hour mix on if there's no one there, and then I'll sit for a little bit, but I'll stand by the DJ booth and I'll mess around, but I'm not playing.
Yeah,
and then I'll start playing at the 4-hour mark or 3-hour mark, and because I feel like if people are paying me to be there, if they see me sitting at the bar when
you're supposed to be out there doing your thing.
Yeah, I don't want them to think some type of way, right? Because I'm a product, right? Yeah. People are buying the product. They're buying Tonka. Like, Tonka's going to bring the party. You know what I mean? So, like, people know me as a party rock kind of guy.
Yeah.
That I can play to any audience. You know what I mean? So, I try to sell that product. So, since you have, like, your schedule laid out till January. So, this weekend is 14, 15, 16, what? The 17th? Is Friday?
I think Friday is the 16th.
Let me look now.
I think so.
All right, so where are you at June 16th, 17th, 18th?
Ooh, let me pull up my schedule.
Yeah, let's see where people can find you. And then I have a follow-up question after this.
Okay.
Because people don't always listen right away. A lot of my listeners listen Friday mornings because this comes out Thursday at 8 p.m.
Okay, gotcha. So on Friday the 16th, I'm going to be at the Irish Horn, which is in Langhorne.
Okay.
That's going to be a solo acoustic performance.
Okay.
And then we're pulling a double on the 17th. We're doing an event down in Smyrna, Delaware. Jesus Christ. Smyrna, Delaware.
Okay.
It's called Smyrna at Night, but it's an all-day festival.
Okay.
So we're playing from 2 to 3 o'clock, leaving immediately, and then going to the Fainting Goat in Delco.
Oh, wow.
Playing that show, playing 5 to 8.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to be cutting it close, get there. Sunday is Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I'm playing at L's Bar in Vineland. It's a more so acoustic-based show as well. And then, and then like...
July 4th weekend, go.
I have one show July 4th weekend. I'm actually going up to the Finger Lakes with Zach to do the duo show.
Okay.
For the day after a wedding.
So they're having like a post party.
Yeah, so the groom, grew up in the Finger Lakes. His family has a house in the lake, and they're going to have their whole family and friends stay.
Oh, wow.
And he was at the W Fest at what was the actual title of that?
The Shamrock thing? Smooth thing.
Was it Dayload, right? Dayload Fest.
Yeah.
So I owe Smooth a commission because this couple was at the Dayload Fest.
Yeah.
And the bride messaged me and was like, hey, come on up. So we're going up on Saturday morning of 4th of July weekend. And then we're going to stay up there for like 3 days. We're going to play and do the whole thing. So
oh, wow.
It's going to be cool.
That's dope. Say,
yeah.
It's so funny who you never know who you're going to meet. And that's why someone put this in my mind a long time ago. When people are coming out for requests, I politely say I don't take requests, but I'm like, let me hear it. Tell me what it is. And if it's terrible, I'm going to tell them up front. I apologize, but I'll try to fit it in, but there's no things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm like rolling and the girl's up and she's like, can you take requests? I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it. If it's an older person or someone that I can tell that hasn't been drunk or like whatever, I'm going to take the request. As much as people say I don't like taking requests, I do, especially on a slow night. I'm definitely taking requests because you never know who that person is or what they can do for you, whatever. So I've changed my ways a little bit.
That's
because
cool.
You never know. So that was good that you plugged yourself, because I was going to ask you, is there anything you want the public to know about your duo to sell it more to them if they've never heard you?
So just to reiterate everything, I mean, we're blending, a live party cover band with DJing. And, I think it's something that people hopefully can get out and see. And my biggest goal, although I had multiple goals with this show, the biggest goal with it was to create an avenue for myself, which I believe I've done. Right. And I'm really proud of that. And I hope people will come out and see it. If you want to see footage of it, you can see it on Instagram. It's Ty_Kingsley1. Okay. And check it out.
Do you have an Instagram for your duo yet?
It's so everything's kind of under the Kingsley brand. Okay. So like it just is on all my personal stuff.
Okay, because I tried diving on your stuff and I noticed it was more just you and what you're doing. So I really couldn't find the duo on there. So like, is that something that you would want to start if you're trying to make a name for it?
I would actually, I don't think I would. I would say no. For me, like everything creatively I've done has been kind of just under the umbrella of Kingsley. So people now are starting to understand that this is really the main show that I'm offering. Yeah, I'm offering acoustic stuff. I'm a singer-songwriter, so I release my own music. So I do all these other things. The bookings, I really don't publicly announce or promote. I just have my relationships with people and it kind of works on the side. Yeah. But for me, I feel like I've worked really hard for a long time to build up just my personal name, just kind of like Tonka. Yeah. So, it's more so just about being, here's the Kingsley Party Duo. You can also have me for an acoustic show if you need me. I write songs.
That kind of makes sense.
I've helped other people write songs in the past, which is cool, and diving into that. So all these different extensions of my creative interests, all just kind of fall under that umbrella.
Okay. Where do you see Tyler Kingsley in 5 years?
Ooh, long gone. I'll be down in Florida. I'll be retired in 5 years.
5 years? Wow. What plan is that? Yeah, what on that one?
Just chilling on the beach, drinking.
That's something I like to ask musicians and DJs. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? That's a good question. So I'm 28, so terrible at math. So I'll be 33.
Yep, 33.
I think I'll just be even further along in the commitment to this new live show that has done so well just in the first year. Okay. So I think in the next 5 years, it'll really grow and expand and really, really take off. Aside from that, I know my bookings, I'm pretty confident will at least, I want to say double. That's awesome. The amount of time Not my personal bookings. I do like
Yeah.
over 200 shows a year, but for everybody else. But I'm just interested in continuing to build my brand and work with great people. It's like that
Yeah.
simple.
That's awesome.
I want to
man.
work with people that I love and just do my thing.
Awesome. If there's any advice you can give to someone that's listening that is afraid to take that leap that you did, that said I'm just all in on music, what would you tell them?
I mean, it's just like you have to. It's just imperative. You have to do it, because if you don't, like, sounds so like dark, you're gonna die no matter what, right?
Yeah.
I would rather be 70, 80, 90 years old, looking back and be like, man, I tried.
Yeah.
It's okay to fail. You know, it's okay to try it and fail and maybe change course at some point and say, you know what, I really did it for a couple of years, not for me.
Right.
But you'll never wonder. Like, I didn't want to wonder. And my thing when I started when I was 18 was like, I'm going to do this till I'm 21. I will reevaluate when I'm 21.
Yeah.
When I was 21, I got hired by the Rockets. So I was like, I'll reevaluate when I'm 25. When I was 25, I was already doing over 200 shows a year, making a living, doing what I love. So every couple of years, I would look back and figure things out. Now I'm 28 and I'm even in a better place.
Yeah.
But I just think you got to be true to yourself and just try and just go for it. And whether it becomes your career or not, that's okay. Because this isn't the career that I had imagined.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be like Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day on stage, just, you know, like rocking out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's every kid's fantasy, and that's cool. I'll always desire that. A part of me will always want that type of adoration.
That's where that hunger comes from.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue to write songs and release things with the full-on intention of, if things move in that direction, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But realistically, I know what I have now, and I know I can build off of this.
Right.
And have sustainability and have balance.
Yeah.
And have happiness and be able to work from home, have time with friends and family,
and
also have my career.
Yeah, you just nailed down a word that I preach all the time, is balance.
Dude.
You gotta have it, man. If you don't have that balance, it's a painful road.
It's rough. And listen, when I was younger, I didn't have balance.
Yeah.
I was doing 1 million shows a year and I was driving myself into the ground. And then of course, abusing alcohol and to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I had to be the party. Mm-hmm. I felt like I had to drink all the time I know this is like going like way out of left field, but
no, it's fine.
It ties into when you're working that much and you're just so tired and it's so like repetitive, you're drinking to have fun.
Yeah.
You're drinking to...
Do you not drink?
I do drink.
Oh, okay.
I do drink significantly less than I used to.
Yeah.
Significantly less. A couple bad nights, but it's one of those things like that you fall into this trap, I guess you could call it, like where you're just constantly working and there's no balance.
Yep.
So you're not seeing your friends and family, you're not happy, you're not even sleeping right, you're not eating right, you're abusing your body.
Right.
And you're taking things and using things to try to enhance when really you just need balance. You need sleep.
Yep. Sleep, man.
Sleep and water, man. Like,
so I preach sleep to people because besides balance,
I'm
preach
a big
sleep.
Sleeper.
Oh, do you have to?
Yeah.
I've been getting 8 hours a night. I feel fantastic.
Yeah.
And because last week I barely slept because you know how it is. You wake up, you got to go to a gig. You got to wake up early to go to this gig. You got to double this day. But if you're trying to fit the gym in, you got to get up 2 hours earlier than you would have because whatever.
Yeah, no, I've been there, man.
Yeah. So that was me last week. I got maybe 7 hours all weekend, and I was like, I need my sleep. So Sunday night, Monday is now Tuesday. I had 3 8-hour nights in a row.
That's good.
Fantastic. Well, two 8-hour nights. This will be the third one because I'm going to sleep good tonight, and then tomorrow I get up and do all my BS. But
yeah,
I really appreciate you having you on. You said it earlier, but mention your Instagram one more time because I do have great traction on my episodes. People listen pretty much 90% of the episodes.
It's Ty_Kingsley1.
Okay, great.
And that is where you can find all content that's based on everything I do in my career.
And do you have a website on there that they can contact for bookings, or is it just DM?
It's just DM me. My email is on there.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So
I'll put all that in the link in the description. Thank you all for tuning in to episode 19 with Ty Kingsley. Are you playing down the shore at all? Like Sea Isle, Wildwood?
I was just in Sea Isle on Friday. So
you
want to talk about real quickly?
Yeah.
Talk about not having sleep on a weekend. So I had my friend's rehearsal dinner was on Thursday.
Oh boy.
Friday, I played in Sea Isle at the Orr House, drove home, woke up. I got 3 hours of sleep Friday into Saturday. I was a groomsman, so I was like, I had to be there early. I had to be like on the ball. You know what I mean? I show up. I was like, I slept for 3 hours, and then we were just we were just ripping it. So I was like,
it
was one of those things, but it's tough. So then I slept like a baby.
Oh, dude.
Into Monday night because Sunday was recovery day. And all that stuff. So
my recovery day was yesterday because we won our softball championship on Sunday, got out. And we went drinking, and then I was supposed to drive to Seattle, but I was too drunk, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I stayed home and just like you know when you're drinking for like 4 hours and you come off of it, and it's still light out, and you're like messed up.
Yeah.
You're just like
that really throws you off.
This is supposed to be here tomorrow, not now. So I was like hungover in the middle of the night. So I was like, it was an awful, awful night. But then I took my sleep aid. Boom, I was out for 9 hours. It was fantastic. Because I was asking you if you play down the shore, because me and Smooth have a shore house in Sea Isle.
Yeah, so I do a couple shows every summer for Carly at Dockside.
Okay, right next door.
Yeah.
Well, we're in that house right next door.
And I do a cool little thing. And it actually popped in my head when you said your DJ show is called DJ Squared.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so Tyler Stetler is an amazing guitarist from the Philadelphia area. He and his fiance, they're Rachel and Ty, acoustic duo. They're awesome. They do like throwback 2000s shit, but it's like acoustic. It's really cool. So he and I have been good friends, and we actually went to school together growing up, all this stuff. So we do a show only at Dockside every year, like 3 or 4 on Sunday mornings, where it's Ty Squared.
Oh, wow.
And it's acoustic based, and what we'll do is I'll just strum the chords and he'll play the vocal melody. So like there's no vocal, because for me, I'm wrecked by Sunday, like vocally. And I was like, oh, this would be a really cool thing to do as a one-off. It's a different avenue of creativity. He and I get to do something together we wouldn't normally get to do. So like if we did a song like Flowers, I would just play the chords, just strum out big chords, and he would play like oh
wow, okay.
He'll play that on guitar, but we'll make it like really washy and like reverbed out and dreamy. So it's so funny. I know you and Smooth and all the DJs are in that house.
Yeah, I know,
saw Frankie
right?
the other day, J-Roy.
So when's the next time you're there?
At Dockside, God, not till August, unfortunately.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, I know. So it's tough. So I'm splitting my time this year between Philadelphia and the shore. It used to just be like every year was like shore.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a lot of stuff at Liberty Point. I'll be at Morgan's Pier next Thursday, the 22nd, I believe, off the top of my head, 9 o'clock. So yeah, just kind of getting out there, and really what caused that shift in my scheduling was putting the duo anywhere that we could put it. That was the right fit for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Crowd-wise, financially, so all that stuff.
Cool, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming in today and having you on. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Episode 19 will be out Thursday. What is this? June 15th, 8 p.m. And it'll be streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and my Instagram at Talkin with Tonka, all one word. Mine is at DJ Tonka _. All Tyler's information will be down below. Thank you all for tuning in. Catch you guys next week, episode 20, and I believe it is DJ Sat1, and he has an intro for the show. I cannot wait. I'll have a musical intro for the show. So make sure you guys check out Tyler's podcast. It'll be out at 8 p.m. and all other episodes, they are out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys. Peace.